We are live from Starbucks, and we have an Indian Wells final in the offing about to happen. And what a tournament it has been for the great Roger Federer. Goyocek falls, then Wawrinka, then Edmund, then Hurkacz, who's a new guy. We are talking about this final between Thiem and Federer, two masterful one-handers. That's the way it should be. It really is the way it should be. It should be two beautiful one-handed backhands on the court in a match like this. Hello, folks. I hope folks are doing well. I am looking forward to this match in a very, very intense way. Federer looks to be just committed to the Highway 101, my friends. He looks to be committed, and you know what? The way he's playing this week, it all comes down to the footwork for Federer. Hi, Farzan. It all comes down to the footwork. What's going on under the waist? That's the issue with Federer. That's what the recent data suggests. The recent data suggests that if Federer's footwork isn't as fast and as accurate as it can be, if it's lagging for some reason, that's what explains why he loses and why he disappoints. Let me tell you, he is riding on a wave. Oh yeah, I'm going to watch it live, Farzan. Federer is riding on a wave right now. Of course, Dubai is the beginning of the wave that he was riding on. Well, in that opening match against Goyocek, I don't know if you guys watched that, but there were too many double faults in that match. So I'm glad Federer cleaned up the serving, and he looks, again, he's looking so committed to the Highway 101, folks. It's going to be 101, I think. But listen, it's not a foregone conclusion. I think the safe money is on Federer. I think the safe and smart money is on Federer. However, Thiem has shown an ability. Well, let me say, he's shown an ability first to really screw up major finals. And that happened, of course, at the French Open. But he's also shown an ability, I believe, to dominate just about any player on the tour. Just about any player on the tour, I think. Sorry for the camera. Hello, Fed is chilled now. No pressure, LSB says, to defend. And 100 in the bag. That's true. It's Federer's century, folks. The Roger Federer century. Well, we haven't talked about that, have we? It was a glorious sight to behold in Dubai. And I believe that this potential victory in Indian Wells could shore it up and consolidate the Federer wave. The 37-year-old, 20-time Grand Slam champion who suffered a disappointing upset, I suppose, to Tsitsipas. But let me say, and this is not bragging, I don't want to be boastful, but if you go back and you watch the Tennis Talk daily videos from the past year, you will find that there was a very early commitment by myself and by a lot of the people that watch the channel that Tsitsipas is a person to bet on. And I have always been singing the praises of Dominic Thiem. I've always been singing the praises ever since really the clay season last year. He, of course, is the person really that Nadal has to watch for on the red dirt to a greater extent than just about any player on the tour. And Thiem is a clay man. Well, the Indian Wells surfaces sort of, I think, facilitate Thiem's style of play because they are slow surfaces, at least they have been in previous years. each year is a little bit different, and they kind of mix up the composition each year. Last year there was some criticism that it was playing slow, so it could be a little faster this year. But listen, a lot of people don't know this. Thiem has won on grass. Thiem has a title on grass, in contrast to someone like Milos Raonic, who I believe doesn't have a single title on grass. I might be wrong about that, but I believe that's true. Thiem has a title on grass, the fastest surface on the tour. So Thiem has shown an ability. He's shown an ability to dominate the best players on the circuit, and he's posted some numbers this week. In particular, in that match, I believe that it was against Karlovic. Of course, he got a pass against Monfils, and Federer, of course, got a pass against Nadal. What do folks think about that? I want to know your views. Who are your... Liam, what's going on, my friend? Nice to see you. I want to know your views. I mean, I do think, again, like I say, the smart money is on Federer today, but Thiem, in notwithstanding the pass that he got against Monfils, Thiem has posted some devastating numbers this week. And in one of those matches, he was in the 80s across the board on serve. In other words, he was getting over 80% of his first serves in. He was winning over 80% of his first serve points, and he was winning over 80% of his second serve points. Now, those are numbers that if he can produce those numbers against Roger Federer, our fleet-footed feline, well, I think Thiem could have a chance, folks, and I think this could be a match that historians look back on and say maybe this was the changing of the guard. Because, you know, people were talking about the Tsitsipas match at the Australian Open as that, and in terms of that being a changing of the guard. But you know what? I don't think so. I think Dubai maybe disproved that proposition, so to speak. And I think Federer is still firing. Federer, let's call him Roger Federer, ladies and gentlemen. But I think Federer is firing on all cylinders, to use a phrase I like to use. And I think that today it could be a ride down the highway 101, folks. Let me know if you disagree, but I'm going to be watching the match, and I am planning on doing a broadcast as well after the match so that I can talk a little bit more about sort of what happens. But listen, it's a great sight to see that we have two one-handers out there who have a very, I believe, diverse and beautiful game. Well, I'm getting a comment. I know, I hope everything is well too for you, and thank you. Well, I would like to start doing more. I've been just so busy doing so many other things, but you know, I have been focused as well on the tennis, and now, of course, I'm starting to get inspired. Indian Wells has been a great tournament to watch, and we have, listen, I'm thinking Miami. I want Miami, folks. I want Federer to nail down the Sunshine Double, baby. Tennis 101, absolutely, that's right. Tennis 101, and it's the Highway 101, according to what I'm thinking as well. But Thiem wants to stop that. Thiem wants to stop that. Thiem wants to put up a roadblock for the Federer ride down the 101 highway, my friends. He wants to put up a roadblock, and can he do it? Well, he's demonstrated an ability to do it. The Austrian has demonstrated an ability to do it. There's no question about that. The general proposition that I'll make again is that the Austrian, the Thieminator, has demonstrated the ability to dominate anybody on this tour. Anybody. If he is on, if he's dominating, if Dominic is dominating, and he, again, it's just been that he's been a little inconsistent, but if he's firing today, if he's all in today, if he's prepared to redeem, listen, Thiem has also shown an ability to screw up major finals. Roger Federer has shown an ability to screw up major finals as well. But Roger, of course, has a very strong record with respect to that particular aspect of the game. You know, clutch tennis. He's the master of the tiebreaker, according to the numbers, of course. So Thiem I'm not sure Thiem wants to get into tie-break scenarios with Roger Federer, folks. That's a dangerous proposition, my friends. Getting into a tie-break with the fleet-footed feline, that's just not a good idea for folks, for the people out there, not at all. So Thiem is going to look for breaks. He's going to look for angles into the great Federer serve. But the way that Federer is serving, how do you find holes in that? How do you find angles in? Well, Thiem can hit, I think, vary up the pace. I think he needs to shock and awe Federer to some degree if he can. Thiem has an ability to shock and awe off both wings. He has the ability to shock and awe off both wings with massive, tremendous accelerating forehands and backhands. Now, on the backhand side, some people would critique Thiem because he needs to work on the variety. Of course, the one-handed backhand, the beautiful thing about the one-handed backhand is all the variety it produces. You can never get that with a two-hander, folks. We've been through this before. I won't go through that whole analysis again. Look for the other videos. But the one-hander facilitates and enables so much variety. And so much interesting nuance in the game of tennis. Well, Thiem, in a way, has yet to develop the potential variety that his one-hander brings, and what he does most of the time is hit accelerating topspin backhands, which can be very conducive to his shock and awe strategy. So it's not out of the question, folks, that Dominic Thiem could pull off an upset here. And Thiem is the rising star. I will say it now, and I'll probably say it again at some point. From a very early point in this channel, I have been singing the praises of three individuals. Roger Federer first, second, Stefanos Tsitsipas, and third, Dominic Thiem. And what I'm seeing play out, something that is very favorable to these players, and they're all bringing the style of game, the torch-bearing style of game that I believe is a very positive thing and at least adds to the diversity and the variety in the game. I'm not saying, listen, I've been into debates with you guys before. I'm not saying let's get rid of the two-handers. I'm not saying that at all. I want that style of game, but the two-handers and that whole sort of very physical, kind of like weightlifting style to playing tennis, well, we need other styles of play that are within the game, the matrix of styles that constitute the game of tennis and the professional circuit at any given time. So I believe that this is a very positive thing that we're seeing Tsitsipas, Thiem, Federer doing wonderfully, and again, using the variety to some extent of the backhand. Tsitsipas does it, I think, a lot more than Thiem, and has a sort of all-court ability to an extent that Thiem is not quite demonstrated yet. But listen, I've always said it. He's not a lot. The lost generation is not quite lost. It's not quite lost. Dimitrov, he's lost. Dimitrov is lost, folks. But Dominic Thiem is not lost. Dominic Thiem is here and present and alive and kicking. And his mission today, in that youthful physiology that he brings to the court, that's what he brings to the court over Federer, doesn't he? He's got the youth. His body hasn't been worked on as much as Federer's body has been worked on. But Federer strikes me, and I'm going to close with this point, and I will be back after the match. Federer, it strikes me, has taken heed, or paid heed, rather, to, I think, the insightful comments that have been made as a statistical matter that show that it really is all about what happens below Federer's waist in every respect, but particularly just in his legs and feet. He has to be functioning on all levels and with maximum capacity. below the waist. It's all about his footwork. He can hit backhands and forehands and even serve beautifully all the time. And he's very consistent in that respect. What it comes down to for Federer is the footwork. That's what separates him. That's what has enabled him to win. Now, mind you, his footwork has developed in tandem with the one-handed backhand style of game that he brings. But it does all boil down to what happens under the waist. It's the waist and under for Federer, and he needs to be kicking, literally. He needs to be kicking in maximum capacity. And he needs that fleet-footed dimension to be, again, firing on all cylinders. And that's where he renders himself the greatest player of all time. And if it's not working, and if it's just a little bit off of its peak, well, that impacts his whole game. It's not really about, to my mind, according to these numbers, and we can have a discussion about this, and I'm interested in your views very much. Leave comments. But I believe that rarely is the problem with Federer, say, when he suffers a disappointing match. And listen, when I bring up the Tsitsipas match at the Australian Open, that really wasn't a disappointing loss necessarily. I mean, that was just one of those very close calls. But with Federer, of course, since he's such a master of the close calls, such a master of the clutch game, such a master of the tiebreaker, it's all the more disappointing when he doesn't kind of clinch the win in those kind of situations. And so Tsitsipas, in a recent scenario, this has relevance to the Thiem match today, because Tsitsipas in a recent scenario has in fact been able to edge Federer, to get him on the clutch, to edge him. Well, Thiem may bring some physiological advantages, but the question for Federer is he going to be the fleet-footed feline that we know and love? Is he going to be as fast as he can be below the waist, so to speak? And again, just using the court, but it does have something to do with the anticipation, and there is a mental component, but his footwork is so fundamental to his game. If he's got that working, then Thiem's going to have a very hard time with Roger today. Because Roger's on a wave, and he wants to ride down the 101, the Highway 101, folks. And it, I think, is very likely to happen. Let me know your views. I definitely am interested in hearing from you all. I know it's been a while. I do apologize about that, but if you'll bear with me and indulge me a little bit, I do want to come back and do more talking. It's an exciting time. And I definitely want to come back and give some more views after the match. So I'm going to save some energy for that. Let me know your comments. Again, tune back in for a post-match live broadcast where we can do a post-mortem, essentially, of this match. Is it going to be the Highway 101 for Roger Federer? Is it going to be a 101, tennis 101, as it were? From Roger Federer to the Dominique Thiem, who will be the student in that scenario. We'll have to just see. Or will it be a changing of the guard in some meaningful way if Thiem actually prevails? Thiem has the capability, again, folks, to dominate. And I'm sorry to say this to you Fed fans out there, but he does have the ability to dominate Roger Federer. They have an even Steven record. Not many people can say that, in terms of a record against, I mean, you have Nadal and Djokovic, who obviously have done pretty well against Federer, but Thiem's even Steven against Federer. They haven't played a lot, but he's demonstrated an ability. Not on hard courts, mind you, but he has demonstrated an ability. In fact, he demonstrated an ability on grass against Federer. So you can't really put anything past Thiem. He's not going to suffer fools gladly, my friends. So listen, it's been wonderful to talk to you here from Starbucks. It's been a good little live broadcast. I think we've had a good group. I've enjoyed the comments. Sorry if I haven't responded to all of them, but I'm going to be back after the match. Peace be with you, and I will talk to you soon. Signing off. Bye.